And over the last 12 years, I've kind of noticed a big shift in remote sensing. One was when Landsat imagery became free. The government decided to open up the pricing or reduce the pricing to zero. And then as a follow-on, when Earth Engine came around and decided to actually make use of all those data, it really shifted how we do remote sensing, especially in the Forest Service as well, as I'll highlight here briefly. The Forest Service is an agency within the Department of Agriculture for the U.S. government. We manage 193 million acres of land in the United States, about 78 million hectares for our foreign visitors. All over the country, Alaska and lower 48. The office that I work in is called the Remote Sensing Application Center. This office is not quite as beautiful as our Dutch counterpart, as highlighted a minute ago. In fact, it's a piece of garbage if you ask me. Although we do have a MODIS dish on top of the roof, we do download and ingest MODIS data all day long, every day, among other things. So we are strategically situated in Salt Lake City to really serve all the national forests in the country. It is a very west-centric agency because of the resources in the western United States that are still federal. So we provide national remote sensing support to all the units across the country and help them because they can't afford to have their own remote sensing specialists on their units. So we use Earth Engine all over the country, actually. Within the agency, the Forest Service, there's some of the staff areas that you might recognize are the National Forest Systems, which are kind of like the rangers hiking through the woods. You've got R&D, which is a forest inventory and analysis, among other things, by the way, research stations all over the country. We've got state and private forestry, who has our forest health and fire and aviation management are in that group. Office of the Chief has international programs and climate change advisors. And because we have a very robust international programs group, we get asked all the time at my building to support countries all over the world in remote sensing techniques and technologies and implementing them in their countries. So we've been sent all over the world to actually implement remote sensing processes. And as we do this more and more, we're realizing we're not going to train them on ERDAS Imagine anymore, or ENVI. We're going to use Earth Engine to do all this stuff. And so we've been doing this all over the world. And in fact, just 2 weeks ago, this is a colleague of mine, Paul Moss, who Cass Green will know, right? He was in Bangkok, Thailand with another colleague, Ian Hausman, who's frequently on the forums and a big user. And they actually did do some outreach for Earth Engine, I guess doing Thau's job for him. We'll send the bill later, okay? So they actually did provide some outreach and assistance on how they can use Earth Engine in Southeast Asia as part of this a LEAF program. Lowering the emissions in Asian forests is the program that we were working with. Finally, some of the more advanced processes we do, and I don't do these. I'm a high-level type, not high-level, simple-minded person who doesn't do this kind of stuff anymore, it seems like. So my colleagues do this stuff. We have a very robust cloud shadow masking algorithm in place where we use it on almost all of our Earth Engine projects now. Very proud of that, that process we've developed. We also do a lot of automated forest disturbance mapping. We are in touch a lot with people like Robert Kennedy, Landtrender, and VCT people, and LCMS is an acronym soup, I'm sorry, in the government, but Landscape Change Monitoring System. A lot of landscape change we're interested in, and we do a lot of work with that and use Earth Engine in that a lot. And then finally, for this bottom one, as I mentioned, this lowering emission in Asian forests, do a lot of that kind of work and RED Plus work with countries all over the world to help them implement their remote sensing technologies and help them get a step ahead, basically, from where they were prior to this. So those are some examples of what we're doing. I did, by the way, tweet out a link to that map of where we were doing stuff with examples of what we're doing there. So take a look at that hashtag that someone put up on the board. So that's it.